Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm now on to this shop build, and I'm going to do some videos for you guys on this, and I'll show you what I'm doing right now. The concrete pour is done, as you can see. Have a look around. I got the IBCs, industrial base connectors, down, but I'll show you a bunch of stuff. Anyway, there's the pad. 30 by 50 pad. And she's done. It's been done for, this is the 8th day. I didn't want to get on it. I left it for a week and just fooled around. Didn't drive on it or nothing. And I left it for a week. So what I'm doing today, I'm putting down these industrial base connectors. I'll show you a bunch of stuff on these. What we're putting down today, these IBCs, industrial base connectors, instead of pouring a concrete trough, for the edge of your arches to sit right in the concrete, I decided I was going to go with the industrial base connectors. They're on top of the slab, right on top, just a flat pour. I think you pay about $2,000 more in the kit for these IBCs, $2,000 to $2,400, whatever it was. I just negotiated everything as a package as hard as I could, and that's just what it come out to be. So anyway, this 30 by 50 shop, Pioneer Steel Building, I paid $17,500 for the kit. $17,500 plus HST for a total price of $20,500. That's what it worked out to be. Those are just real numbers. So a touch over 20 grand, 30 by 50 shop with the IBCs, industrial base connectors, the whole kit, man door, everything except the roll-up door. So we'll carry on. And this isn't America, this is Canada, and we're not afraid to take it in a hoop with pricing because they love gouging us. But anyway, there you go. Look down there. There's your IBCs all the way down, both sides right there. And I'm just wedge anchoring them in today. So, general layout's done. I got the IBCs lagged at the seam. Each run is 10 feet long. So I've got it there, one there, I've got one there, and so forth, all the way down. The wedge anchors are in at the seams for each section of IBC. That's done. I just set them this morning. Okay, so what I got here, I priced around Home Depot. I priced around everywhere, obviously, to try and get the best price I could. No good. These little hardware stores and Home Depot, you can only get, you know, small packages, homeowner style, 6, 8 in a pack, whatever, 5. So I went on Amazon. It's kind of a shame that you can't find stuff local, bulk. So I got these Confast wedge anchors, 5.5 inches as per engineer spec, wedge anchors, and they come with nuts and washers. And I think it worked out to be $140 for three boxes of these. And actually, I don't even know honestly how many are in a box. Maybe 24. I'm not sure. I haven't even counted them, but I know I worked it out earlier and it was substantially cheaper to buy them off Amazon, like I said. Anyway, that's why I ordered them. They come with nuts and they come with galvanized flat washers. So I'll show you guys something. Have a look here. For you guys looking at these wedge anchors, this is how they work. You've got your hammer drill, 1/2-inch hammer drill, and you've got your carbide tipped masonry bit on there with a carbide tipped. You lay your holes out and you drill down. And what I'm doing now, this should be a little bit longer, but I'm not going and buying another one. This is a brand new bit. Drill your hole with your hammer drill. You got to have a hammer drill generally, or you'll be doing a lot of fighting with a regular drill. And then you take your wedge anchor. These are 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. Slip your washer over, put your nut on. Generally, what I try and do is I try and run the nut flush with the top of the wedge anchor in case you get a hard time and it starts to flare the end of it. Not that these are ever going to come out, but if I ever wanted to remove the nut, which I never will, but just in case, I always run the nut almost flush with the end of the wedge anchor. If you guys can see it, this has got a movable wedge on here. And what happens is you pound them straight in the concrete, and I'm going to demo it for you. And then the sliding piece will slide on the wedge here, and it will open up. Once it's driven in the concrete and you start to pull this wedge anchor up, this movable piece right here will bite into the concrete. It'll hold fast and you'll start to pull your leg out of the concrete. While this is already stuck in position, it's already dug in the concrete, it's going to flare and it's going to open up and it's going to ride this wedge, this bell wedge to the very bottom of the anchor, and it's going to flare out and it's going to bite that concrete. And once these are set, and once this wedge anchor goes in, it comes out and it opens up at the bottom. As you're pulling up, it flares out wider and wider and it grabs that concrete. These are not coming out. And I can tell you a story about how I screwed a floor up in my younger years a little bit by hooking a fork truck onto one of these in heavy industry. Oh, I did it, and I blew the floor. I blew a pocket right out of the floor. But anyway, I can explain that later. Oh yeah, I've had a run-in with these before. So, and they work good. So this is a wedge anchor, 5.5 inch, and I'm going to demo how you set these. Pretty basic stuff. But you know what? If you've never done it, it might not be that basic. So I'll show you how we're going to do this. So I'll put some hearing protection on. So for this job here right now, the average dude's not going to have this stuff, but I happen to have it gathered over the years here and there. It's just how it works. I've got impact gloves too. These are actually a gel style glove for heavy impact. Whether you're using an air chipper, it doesn't matter. Any high impact, high vibration on your hands or your wrists. Gel, gel, gel. Anti-fatigue, we'll call them anti-vibration gloves. Impactos they're called. But anyway, the average dude don't have those. It's just a bonus to have. So, I'm going to show you what we do here to put these wedge anchors in. So all these IBCs are firmly in place. Nothing's going to move. We're going to hammer this hole out. One thing I'm going to tell you guys about a hammer drill. This is a Walter Matibo hammer drill, good hammer drill. You don't need to lean into a hammer drill with all your force as if you were drilling with a regular drill and trying to get through your product. You don't have to do that with a hammer drill. They're almost self-feeding. You put a little bit of pressure on them, let the drill and let the hammer and the drill do the work and tap that concrete. And you'll see what I'm saying. You don't need to lean into that thing. A little bit of pressure is all you need with a hammer. Don't lean on it too heavy, just let it do the work, and also clean your hole out quite often, especially once you start getting in deeper. Bring that drill in and out. Keep that hole as clean as you can to your maximum depth. And that's it. You've just sunk that masonry bit right to that chuck, as far as you can go. So what happens now with this masonry bit is we pound it in. So now remember, Washer on first, then your nut. You set it up on your hole. There you go. Take it in, pound it in till it deadheads. There, you can feel it deadhead. That's the maximum reach I got with that drill bit. And that's just how it is. And some people will dispute that that's not in deep enough at everything else. I can tell you, it's never coming out. And there you have it. I put that wedge anchor in there, pounded it in, tried to draw it out of the concrete, pull it up, and as we're pulling up on this wedge anchor, that wedge is spreading out and it's grabbing that concrete down there in that pad, and that's not coming out. All right. I am probably, I think 5 or 6 holes from the end. I went for lunch, now I'm back, and I did something else too. I switched out the drills. I switched out that Walter Matibo for a Milwaukee hammer. I also got a 1/2-inch drive Milwaukee hammer drill, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that Milwaukee compared to that Walter made in Germany, because Walter makes excellent tools, I know that, but you know what, Milwaukee makes excellent tools. So I'm going to drill a few holes with a Milwaukee, and we're going to give her. Okay, hammer time. And this part of the concrete here has been giving me a bit of a hard time. So I thought, well, I'm going to try a different drill. But down at this end, for some reason, I'm hitting either a little more aggregate or I don't know. It just doesn't drill quite as easy. That's it. That thing will not get past there. And some of these lags, most of them will go in good, but I get the odd lag where I hit a piece of rebar in there, depending on the spacing and that, well, I'm screwed then. I can only pound the lag in, screw it down, and then cut it off later on with a zip cut. That's all you can really do. For the most part though, they're going pretty good. I'm going to try this one a little bit more. That was just a hard piece of aggregate. And I'm not noticing any difference really. Depending on where you're drilling in the concrete, you might hit a stone, you might hit a piece of rebar, but I'm not noticing really any difference between that Walter and this Milwaukee. Both of them are good quality hammer drills, no doubt about it. They both make a good product, so you know what? I'm not noticing any difference, so I'll just carry on. Okay, thanks for watching, you guys. I'll get back to you on the next phase of this. All right, good morning, everybody. It's the first week of October here. Weather is fabulous, and have a look around. I just thought I'd give you a quick look at the color of the trees around here. Right there. This is what it's like right now in northeastern Ontario. If you want fall colors, you better get up here. Lots of motels, lots of places to stay. and you can do a fall tour up here in northeastern Ontario. And it's coming really nice for fall colors. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So I'm putting this Alpine Series Pioneer Quonset building together here, and I'm doing videos a little bit at a time. I haven't put any out yet on the videos, but I'm doing them a little bit at a time, and then eventually I'll release a whole bunch of videos on this. But anyway, I've got the concrete done as I've showed you, and all the base plates are anchored. And yesterday I put up the first arch on this building, and you guys can see I put the first arch up yesterday. On another note, I picked up this JLG scissor lift, and to me this is a must on a building this size. On this 30 by 50 Quonset building, I wouldn't even attempt, to me, scaffolding, rolling scaffolding, and nothing. I just wouldn't do it. You need the power of hydraulics here, and you need that movable scissor lift on wheels, really. I can't imagine trying to do this job any other way, because these arches are extremely heavy and these pieces are heavy. And maybe not if you had a crew of 4 or 5 guys, but there's only 2 of us. And without this skyjack lift behind me, I'd be screwed, completely screwed. So to me, that's the way to go anyway, and it makes life a lot easier. I definitely got lucky when I found this JLG lift, this scissor lift, because over yonder, about 3/4 of a mile, there's a neighbor of mine, and I saw 2 of these sitting in the bush along his property. And so I went door knocking and introduced myself, and lo and behold, I ended up buying that lift off him. I was going to rent one. I think they're about $1,200 a month, but I didn't want the pressure of the time factor of having to get this thing up. And because I want to hang lights, I want to run conduit, I want to put a mezzanine in here, I'm going to need a scissor lift all the time. So I said, I'm not going to rent one, I'm going to try and buy one if I can. And luckily I found one. And there it is. It's probably 25-year-old machine. Who knows? But it works pretty good. It'll go up 20 feet, no problem. And I just did a little bit of electrical work to it yesterday to get it going, and I had one bad contactor on it, and one bad termination down to the electric motor. That was it, and then away it goes. It works so far flawlessly. So it's been a really big help, and I appreciate him selling it to me. But that's where we are. And right now I've got, as you can tell when you look, this guy's anchored in place with rope right now. You can see I got him tied to the truck and to the track loader, just holding him overnight. And we're just going to continue on with this build today. And it's a bit tougher than I thought it was going to be, for sure, but we don't have a big crew of people, and that's just the way it goes. So we're doing our man piecemeal, one a little bit at a time. And there you go. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, forget that nonsense unless you got a whole crew. And of course, this is a big building and it's really high, but you ain't putting this building up in 4 days. I don't care what anybody says. If you had 7 guys and 2 skyjack lifts, maybe you could. These buildings, you just don't slap them together and get them done like pronto in 4 days unless they're small. And it's time consuming. There's lots of bolts and lots of alignment too. So yeah, it's not going to happen in no 4 days. I would say this building's going to take me probably 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks probably, picking away at it, just because we don't have the manpower here. All right, you guys. I got 2 full arches up, and we'll be carrying on here. 2 full arches are up. There's something I want to show you guys here that you have to be aware of. You do it right here. This dimension right here, from the bottom of your sheet steel to the center of your hole, is 1 inch. Here to here is 1 inch. Over here, if you look at this end, it is from the bottom of your sheet steel to the center of your hole is 3/4 of an inch. So you have to be careful of that. And the 1 inch end is the one that you put down. So if you don't have industrial base connectors, it doesn't matter. The 1 inch bolt hole goes down on both sides as your base. Doesn't matter whether you're using a trough or whether you use an IBC industrial base connectors. And your 3/4 hole up there from the end goes up. That's just all you really got to remember, and make sure you set them all the right way. And there's something else too that they don't mention in the manual that I stumbled upon. It goes the same with your long arches over there. Those great big 99-inch arches over there, it's the same thing. There's a 3/4 and a 1 inch punch, and they're different on each end. And I notice it really doesn't matter how you set them, as long as you're consistent straight down the building. Too hot. So, as you can see, we got 2 full arches up, and I also notice up there, once you get that second arch up and you get it squared up and you get your bolts in on that second arch and you get that top cap in, everything starts to fall into square nicely. Your first arch, as they said in the manual, super difficult. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for anybody, especially when there's only 2 of us. And the saving grease on this job right now for me is that skyjack lift. I couldn't do it without it. I just couldn't do it without it. And so the first arch is terrible. The book even says the book calls it difficult to put up. Yeah, it's difficult. It's challenging. It's just terrible to put up. They're self-supporting, but they wobble all over. You got to tie them off, and they just will not stand. I'll tell you, putting your first arch up, I thought of this the other day. It's like trying to teach an octopus to walk. Can you do it? I don't think you can. So that's exactly what these things are like. So when these clowns tell you, selling you these buildings that you and your buddy or 2 buddies or whatever can put it up in 4 days, yeah, maybe you can if you got a small building, but guess what? You got to think a little bit too while you're putting these up. I've made a few mistakes and I've had to double back, and I'll share them with you on the rest of the video. Pretty good. So anyway, here I am. Get out of the sun. Beautiful. Oh, and by the way, I don't think you can get any better October weather here. This weather is absolutely outstanding. It's probably going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be 22 degrees today. 22, 23 degrees. Virtually no wind and sun. Same with tomorrow. Blazing hot sunlight. It couldn't have come better. So I'm going to work today and tomorrow, giving her. And then 4 days of rain all through the weekend and the next week. So we're going to get as much done as we can today. MJ's coming out. She's just getting changed because it's too hot. Okay. Pull out those 2 seam bolts with the gun. Can you reach them? Okay. Don't kill yourself. Hold on. Nuts in the bottom first. Take the nuts off. And while we're up here, we'll set this on and we'll just try and get those back in, right?
need the gun on that one. How?
Push it back, just okay, right there. All right, let go of it.
Alright, hang on.
Yeah. Okay, what do we got? 14? 15 arches. Looking good.